If you thought that Throne and Liberty Open Beta was amazing, wait until you hear and see what just dropped on Korean servers. NCSoft has been cooking, and they have absolutely nailed it with the new update. It shouldn't even be called an update, it's an expansion. No, not even an expansion, it is a completely new game. The patch notes were so big that they had to split them into 3 different articles and sections. But don't worry, Freshie is here to keep you updated. Since I managed to get a very rough translation, and I don't understand a lot of changes, I will keep it concise and easy to understand, but only if you subscribe. I'm waiting, I can see you haven't clicked the subscribe button yet. Okay, there you go, we can proceed now, thank you. The skill specialization system introduces an additional layer of customization to skills. Players can allocate specialization points to enhance or modify their abilities. Players have complete freedom in how they allocate their points, and they can reset these points without any penalty, allowing for constant experimentation. This system is designed to create diversity in combat styles, making it possible for players to have unique builds even if they use the same weapon for each class. Each skill can be customized with up to 5 different specializations, allowing players to tailor their skills to different playstyles. The system is unlocked at level 25, providing 25 points to start with, and then you can earn 3 specialization points per level up until level 50, capping at 100 points. You can allocate these points as you choose, and each specialization requires a different number of points, depending on its impact and power. You can modify skills in various ways, such as increasing damage, reducing cooldowns, adding new effects, or changing the way the skill behaves entirely. Sword and Shield has 42 specializations, focusing on high damage and area effect attacks. Greatsword has 37, emphasizing balanced offense and defense. Dagger has 38, enhancing stealth and rapid attacks. Longbow has 35, improving range damage and utility. Crossbow has 35 as well, focusing on burst damage and traps. Staff has 39 specializations, enhancing spellcasting and elemental damage. Wand has 36, improving healing and support abilities. Many changes have been introduced to current skills, while some new skills have been added for each weapon. All skills now start at the same tier level, providing a more consistent and powerful base for all characters. Blue and purple tier skill effects are integrated into the skills based attributes, meaning you don't need to level up your skills anymore to go from green to blue and blue to purple. Since there are way too many changes for each weapon skills, I will put a screenshot for each weapon on the screen, so feel free to pause the video and read through it. Keep in mind that skill names are not translated correctly, but the changes are. New stats have been added, and some current ones had formulas calculating them changed a bit. Base mana regeneration increased by 20, making it easier for players to use skills without running out of mana. Critical hit damage reduction has been added to mitigate the increased damage from critical attacks. Shield defense penetration reduces the effectiveness of an enemy's shield defense, allowing for more strategic combat. And critical hit damage calculation formula has been changed, where all the critical hit damage stats are now additive rather than multiplicative, making critical damage calculations more straightforward and balanced. Monsters and bosses had their race stats integrated and adjusted. Existing 10 are merged into 5 categories, simplifying and balancing related stats and equipment effects. These categories now are Wild, which includes animals, insects, plants and dragons. Ain, which includes Taeons and Ascians. Undead, which includes undead and spirits. Constructed, which includes constructs. And Demonic, which includes demons. New stats for these monster categories like damage amplification and damage resistance have been added, providing more strategic depth and balance, meaning you can deal more damage to specific boss types and take less damage from them, providing you have the right stats. New immunity system has been introduced. A new gauge fills up when players are hit by continuous CC effects. Players gain temporary immunity to those effects, preventing excessive crowd control. The gauge and the immunity duration are visually indicated, allowing players to see when they will become immune and plan accordingly. This system encourages players to manage their exposure to continuous status effects strategically. Clear visual indicators ensure that players are aware of their current status and can make informed decisions in the heat of battle. New material conversion system allows players to convert various old items into other items using collected materials. This gives previously worthless items new value and utility. Players can use the Material Conversion tab to convert materials into equipment of different grades or obtain Trait Resonance Shard Fragments. And also materials can be transformed into a Rune Hammer or runes of different grades and rune fragments. The goal is to repurpose items that were previously often discarded or destroyed, thereby enhancing their value and providing players with new opportunities for item acquisition. Items are now converted into points based on their type, enhancement level and grade. Up to 20 slots can be used for conversion. A minimum point threshold must be met to attempt conversion. Points can be invested to increase stages, which in turn can yield higher value items. And detailed information about obtainable items can be seen through a probability information pop-up. Some notable changes to traits, where the grade restriction for materials used in trait enhancement has been reduced, meaning materials and success probabilities are now more flexible. Items used for trait switching and extraction have been updated. Old items can now be sold for solvent. A new option allows trait conversion without needing the same equipment, using only trait conversion stones. Equipment transfer now grants significantly more blessing points. Trait extraction stones replace the old extraction potions, purchasable in limited quantities, and trait conversion stones replace the old conversion potions. New system to switch traits without additional equipment is only for purple tier items. A new trait resonance system is introduced. After fully enhancing all traits of purple tier and above equipment, an additional growth opportunity called trait resonance becomes available. Introduction of Challenge Dimensional Rift, which is a new system that allows players to tackle dungeons at varying difficulty levels. This content is designed to provide a continuous challenge rewarding players based on their progression and performance. Every Wednesday, 2 dungeons are selected for the week. Players can attempt these dungeons repeatedly without consuming any specific in-game currency. Only the party leader can create a dungeon and select its difficulty level, with the stage options increasing based upon previous attempts. Party members must meet a minimum combat power requirement to enter though. Players receive rewards upon completing each stage, which vary in type and quantity based on the dungeon level. You can get gear, skill books and most importantly the new runes. The first completion of each stage grants a unique score, contributing to seasonal rankings and score-based rewards. Rankings are determined by the highest stage completed. The UI for entering Dimensional Rift dungeons have been updated to accommodate the new Challenge Dimensional Rift feature. The party matching feature is now available for Tier 2 dungeons, providing party matching buffs and additional rewards when used. To align with the introduction of the Challenge Dimensional Rifts, the entry requirements and difficulty for existing dungeons have been adjusted. The minimum combat power for Tier 2 dungeons has been lowered to 1950 points, and the difficulty of bosses in both Tier 1 and Tier 2 dungeons has also been nerfed and make them more accessible and easier. A new rune socket system enhancement has been introduced, allowing players to further improve their purple weapons and accessories. This system is designed to provide continuous growth opportunities, particularly in the contents of repeatable new Challenge Dimensional Rift dungeons. There are 3 types of rune sockets: attack, defense and support. Each type increases relevant stats and can only be fitted with corresponding runes. Players can use rune hammers to unlock rune sockets. The number of hammers required depends on the equipment type and grade. Players can reset sockets to change their type, though the number of hammers required increases with each reset. Runes can be obtained primarily through the Challenge Dimensional Rifts, as well as other content like weekly missions, field bosses and guild raids. Runes have level and grades that determine their effectiveness. Higher levels provide better stats, and grades determine the maximum achievable level. They can also be dissolved into rune shards or transformed into other items, ensuring that all runes have value even if they are not immediately useful. A new weekly mission system has been added, allowing players to complete tasks for rewards, such as purple equipment, runes, rune hammers, and special stones for skill enhancement. They reset every Wednesday and the rewards for completed missions are distributed the following week. The drop rates in open dungeons and tier 1 dungeons for equipment have been significantly increased to facilitate faster gear progression. Drop opportunities improve when playing in a party, rewarding collaborative efforts. Drop rights for loot are now based on the first hit, with icons indicating loot ownership appearing above eligible players. A lot of loot and rewards from open world bosses have been adjusted and reshuffled, and most importantly, the leveling from 1 to 50 has been adjusted, where now you are able to reach level 50 by only doing main story quests, just as it was in open beta. This makes leveling much faster, and you can reach level 50 in less than 6 hours. Lifestyle content has been added, introducing the concept of lifestyle levels. This update allows players to engage in non-combat activities, contributing to a more immersive and varied gaming experience. Players can now track their lifestyle level in a character information window, where relevant stats are also displayed. Each lifestyle level comes with additional effects which can be verified in the content description. Fishing has been introduced as a new lifestyle activity, allowing players to engage in a relaxing pastime by the water. Players can fish by equipping a fishing rod and bait. Basic fishing rods and bait can be purchased from merchants and acquired through various in-game activities. Advanced rods can be crafted or obtained through special events and expeditions. Catching fish grants fishing experience, increasing the chance of catching higher level fish as the player fishing level rises. Cooking has been introduced, allowing players to create food with special effects using ingredients gathered through various means. Players can cook using cooking hearths in town or campfires in the field. Recipes are categorized based on their effects: offensive, defensive, lifestyle, and utility. Players select a recipe, check the required ingredients, and initiate the cooking process without any additional costs. General food provides effects for a set duration, sustained consumption food provides effects over a time, and feast food can be placed on the ground for up to 6 players to consume, providing group benefits. Cooking specific recipes grant experience, increasing cooking levels, which unlocks new recipes and increases the chance of cooking success. Players can now send their Amitois on expeditions to gather various items, enhancing their resource collection capabilities. Players select region, expedition duration, and the Amitoi to send on the expedition. Each region and Amitoi has attributes such as meadow, coast, forest, desert, or ruins. Expeditions yield rewards, increasing attribute bonuses for matching regions and Amitoi attributes, with potential rewards like materials, adventure points, and expedition pouches containing various items. Completing expeditions grants more experience, leveling up the expedition team, which unlocks new regions and allows sending more Amitois. New gathering materials have been added to Gigantrite, providing more opportunities for resource collection. Players can now gather marine and marine ore in a Gigantrite. These materials are personalized, meaning each player has their own set of 6 randomly placed ores that regenerate 5 minutes after being gathered. Also, the Blessing of Gigantrite buff now significantly increases mana regeneration from 5 to 50. A new type of regional event focusing on cooperation has been introduced, with restructured rewards for various regional events. This event has been converted from a peaceful to a cooperative type. Players work together to achieve group goals through different stages, reaching a bonus stage where they face the excited giant goblin. Rewards for regional events have been restructured to include skill growth books, food selection boxes, and rune probability packages. The second preseason of the arena begins, featuring a reset of rankings and improvements to matchmaking and game mechanics, combat power restrictions, and improved matchmaking to ensure players face opponents with similar scores, adjustments to death handling, application of the energy of the arena, effect reducing skill recovery, and changes to rage effect, including reductions in healing received and state resistance. Additionally, ranking points are granted for consecutive wins and victories following consecutive losses. And lastly, many different changes and quality of life improvements have been made to UI and UX design, Riftstone's castle sieges, tax delivery events, changing some rules and the way certain mechanics during siege work, but I won't bother you too much with this. I probably missed something important or something wasn't translated well, but overall these are all the major changes that were covered in 3 different patch notes. If you want to continue your amazing experience for beta, make sure you join the Hyperboost server on Korea to start your journey from zero and experience all these new systems before global release. Let me know what are your thoughts about these improvements in the comments. And please, for the love of God, just hit that subscribe button. You made it to the end of the video, it's the least you can do. Jokes aside, thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the Solazium.